This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right. Coming down the aisle, it's the podcast tag team champions of the world, the Rage and Blaze Show.
Welcome to another exciting edition to the Rage and Blaze Show. I'm Rage.
And I'm Blaze.
And, I just can't. I can't get excited right now. I'm sorry, but I just can't do this. I mean, we're about to do WrestleMania 5. I was all pumped up, had the energy level up, but something's just weighing on me. I just can't do it.
What's weighing on you, Rage?
The Golden Role Models broke up.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty distraught about this, man. I mean, Bayley turned on Sasha, and it feels like the current landscape of wrestling just isn't going to be the same. It's just, why do bad things happen to good gimmicks?
Where do broken hearts go?
I know we are like a classic wrestling type of show, but just keep in mind, guys, that we are real people too, that watch real wrestling on a weekly basis. And even though we're about to do a show from April 2nd, 1989, WrestleMania 5, where the mega powers collide, just know that we live in the real world. In the real world, things are dark and grim right now because we don't have the Golden Role Models together anymore. I just need a minute.
It's okay. Need a minute. Let it out, bro. Let it out, Rage.
I don't know if you can hear it through the microphone, but these are real tears. I'm crying right now. Because every week, Mondays and Fridays, on the USA Network and on Fox, and occasionally pay-per-view, sometimes back-to-back weekends.
And 3 weeks later on WWE Network.
My favorite thing I look forward to on a daily basis, what gets me up in the morning, is the Golden Role Models. And Bayley, you ruined that. And I don't know if I can ever forgive you. But it's going to be hard. Okay, Blaze. I think I'm ready.
No hugs for Bayley. No hugs.
No, that was not a hugging moment. Not at all.
We're professionals. I need you to get together. Rage.
Okay. All right. Give me a minute. Let me get the tears away from my eyes. We are about to do WrestleMania 5! The Mega Powers are about to collide. This is gonna be great. Nope. I just can't. I just can't. You know what? Unless you have something you'd like to add, I think we just need to move on to the next match.
It's what Sasha would have wanted.
It is what Sasha would have wanted. Divorce. This show is about the WWF and pro wrestling, and today it's all about WrestleMania!
That is true. That is what this show is about.
Okay, so why don't
we Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series, and SummerSlam.
And eventually I think we're going to do some King of the Ring. And
a little bit of there. A little bit of this, and a little bit of that. We'll go here and here.
This is our show. We'll do what we want.
That's right. This is not a democracy, people. So we are dictators.
So if we find something wrestling-related worth doing a podcast on, we will do it. And if you got a problem with that, you can like and subscribe one of our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we will plug those later on in the show. And you can comment to us about it.
Bitch at us about things like the YouTube commenters.
So if you got a problem, you can hit us up on any of those platforms.
Yo, I'll solve it.
Check out my beat while my DJ revolves it.
Ice, ice, baby.
Okay, so we start this show off. They let us know that it is at Trump Plaza. This is the second year in a row they have used this venue. So 2 years in a row, we're in Atlantic City, Trump Plaza. And then they announced the WWF Women's Champion, Rockin' Robin, is going to sing America the Beautiful.
Sing is not the word I'd use.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Since WrestleMania 1, we've had a great tradition of famous singers singing this song. Well, we had Mean Gene Okerlund, didn't we?
Yeah, in the first one.
But I mean, the second, the third, and the
fourth. They
went
back to the tradition of the first one.
We've had celebrities singing this song, and then out of nowhere, WrestleMania 5, they just have Rockin' Robin do it. Little confusing, maybe. I'd love to find out a little bit of history. If anybody knows the history, please let us know. I'm sure maybe Boomer might have some insight. But it feels like maybe somebody backed out last minute. I mean, really like to know what happened here because it was a very odd choice to let Rockin' Robin sing. And what really makes me wonder is that the best singer in the locker room?
Well, Rockin' Robin wasn't really rocking very well. It seems to me like maybe you're right. Somebody backed out, and then they were like, we need someone to sing this, and they didn't audition her. They were just like, Rockin' Robin came out, was like, I can sing.
She didn't seem very confident in her ability to sing either.
Well,
you could see in her face that she knew she couldn't sing. And Jesse the Body Ventura made sure to let us know she shouldn't quit her day job. She needs to stick to wrestling. That was he said what everybody
It may have been the heel thing, but it's also the truth.
I think I would have rather, if you're not going to get a big celebrity to sing this, I think if you look at the wrestlers they had at the time, wouldn't a Honky Tonk Man rendition had been more appropriate and fitting? Just Rockin' Robin, just throw her out there.
Oh, or hear me out. $1 Million Man pays them to force Virgil to sing. So just seeing him out there and Virgil intentionally singing terribly would be great.
I don't know. It just was an odd moment considering the history in which we know of them getting great people to do this at the beginning of WrestleMania. So I'd really like to know what happened with WrestleMania 5. I'm just kind of wondering. But then we get the first match of the night. We get King Haku comes out with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and his opponent is the mighty Hercules.
The demigod!
So the beginning of this match I thought started off pretty good. I thought there was some good spots right away, high octane. But then somewhere, maybe when it flickered black on the screen, I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird.
In the middle of the match, all of a sudden during a bear hug, Haku was doing a bear hug on Hercules. The screen got dark. You could still see them, but it was just a shadowy look. I don't know if the lights flickered in the arena or if it was a camera thing. I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened, but the screen
I think
dark.
It felt more like a camera thing than the flickering of lights.
Well, I don't know what exactly happened there, but after it happened, I felt like the match got kind of sloppy and bad afterwards.
Yeah, there was some weird spots here. There was a part where Haku does like a super kick as Hercules is jumping off the top rope, and it completely missed him to the left. Hercules sells it like he took the hit.
Yeah, it was sloppy. There was also like a backbreaker.
The first one looked devastating,
really
yeah.
But then Haku kept a hold of him and tried to do another one and completely missed his back, hit like the bottom of his butt. It just looked sloppy.
Yeah, and then we've already made comments of how we feel about bear hugs. And,
unless you're Andre the Giant, don't do it.
Well, unless you're much bigger than your opponent, I think is more the accurate statement. And Hercules is not a small man.
I don't think Hercules is smaller than Haku at all.
Yeah, and he's like clubbing him while he's being and like doing nothing, and I'm just like, you're telling me that Haku doesn't feel the clubbing of a demigod, Rage?
Well, anyhow, so then we get the finish of this match is a suplex bridge into a pin.
Yeah, and they weren't entirely sure who got the win. We've done this a few times already.
The referee didn't hesitate to raise Hercules.
No, he didn't, but then they showed the commentators were.
In the replay, you can see Hercules, and I thought this was actually good ring awareness. Hercules actually lifted his shoulder up, his one shoulder up, specifically
to not get the pin.
To not have two guys pinned at once.
Yeah, and we actually got a replay of this match.
Yeah, so that was pretty good ring awareness. So after the match, the match starting the show off. It wasn't a great match. It had some sloppy parts, but there was some good spots early.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I mean, there was just a few botches that we noticed.
It wasn't King Harley Race versus Haku.
No, it's definitely much better than Haku's last match.
But it still wasn't great. So then we get a Mean Gene Okerlund interview of the Rockers, and we get to hear Shawn Michaels speak for the first time on our podcast. Doesn't sound the same, does he?
No, he's younger. He's obviously so much younger, but I felt like in this interview, Shawn was doing the typical wrestling voice of the times. So he didn't really try to have his own voice. He was trying to sound gruff and sound like a normal wrestler at this time.
Yeah, it just did not sound like what we're used to hearing from Shawn. It was just different because we've heard his voice a million times over. He's one of the best talkers ever in the history of WWF, WWE.
And here he just sounds like everyone else.
So yeah, this time it was just very generic is the best way. And it makes me wonder if his voice changed that much throughout the years, or did he tweak his voice throughout the years to sound better? It really makes you wonder. Because if this is normal sounding Shawn, he would not be the showstopper, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels that we know and love.
Yeah, his voice is so distinctive that it was really jarring for us to hear. Yeah, Marty Jannetty, however, kind of
sounded like Marty Jannetty.
Yeah,
I mean, he never sounded much different than that, in my opinion.
Right. I'm just saying he was more unique and interesting compared to Shawn in this promo.
If you'd watch this now in 1989, you would say, that Marty Jannetty's got a career, and you would think Shawn's the weak link of the team, right?
Well, in fairness, Shawn was the young guy. Marty Jannetty was the veteran, so he was kind of teaching Shawn the ropes at this time. So, you start somewhere, right? You start somewhere.
Fair enough. It will definitely be interesting to see the evolution of Shawn and to see how he blossoms into a better entertainer. Because in the ring, I think we've already seen he's pretty good in the ring.
He's pretty good, but
we haven't seen anything bad from him in the ring yet.
No, but I think we've also noticed that Marty Jannetty is actually, you can tell that he's definitely better. You can tell that he is the veteran and he knows what he's doing.
Right. So that'll be interesting to see him evolve as the years go on, because this is, as everybody know that listens to this podcast, by now this is, in my opinion, the GOAT. He is my favorite of all time.
He probably is the best wrestler of all time, in my opinion, as well.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing his voice change as we hear him in interviews. And it'll be interesting to see when that starts happening.
Right.
So anyhow, okay, so let's move on to the next one, see what we got going.
All right.
Okay, in the next bout, we get the Twin Towers, Akeem and the Big Boss Man with Slick in their corner, and they are taking on the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. This match from the get-go starts out with high energy and excitement.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Rockers were doing awesome things. They had a drop kick, both of them from two different corners. Mind you, Shawn kind of missed.
Didn't really connect, but it was still fun to watch.
Yeah.
You got the idea of what was going on.
Marty hit first, and then
Shawn kind of hit air.
Yeah.
But other than that, this match was flawless. And anybody who wants to learn how to sell a move in the wrestling industry, jeez, Shawn Michaels sold the hell out of a clothesline that Akeem put on. And it was just great.
Devastating.
I mean, it just shows if you sell it, anybody can look good in the ring. Because let's be honest, we've kind of laughed at Akeem every time we've seen Akeem. He's kind of silly. He does this whole little strut where he's kind of moving his arms constantly and dancing. What does Shawn do? Shawn looks at Akeem while he's doing that, and he does the moonwalk. I mean, he plays on what his opponent is doing, and he just makes it fun. He sells every move. That clothesline didn't look super vicious on Akeem's side. He didn't really run and do the clothesline, but Shawn sold it like it was a clothesline from hell.
Yeah, he did.
And it just looked better because of the way he sold it.
Yeah. Another cool spot was Shawn jumping off the top rope and Boss Man catching him and just turning around and power bombing him.
Oh, that was vicious power bomb.
Yeah.
And it looked good. We can't do a big Boss Man match without mentioning the appearance of the magical and mystical Belly. I swear this thing has made an appearance every time this guy has stepped in the ring during our podcast. We have not done a big Boss Man match without seeing his belly exposed. I don't know if in 1989 or before that, 88, when we've seen him, I don't know if the shirts just didn't make him strong enough to control such a force of blubber in which he has.
You cannot contain that power.
But my goodness, this man's belly is exposed no matter who he's wrestling, when he's wrestling, and it's happened every single time.
Yeah, he likes to expose that stomach.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, we just, and obviously it worked in this match because he gets the 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, the Rockers lose this one.
Yeah, it's sad.
But it was a very, very fun match.
It was. It was one of those classic big men versus small men matches, and the Rockers did moves that actually made sense facing these guys. There was a lot of cool spots, a lot of cool moves. It was a lot of fun.
A lot of tag team action, a lot of tag team moves from both teams.
We
had a double avalanche during the match that Marty Jannetty looked like he died. When you have, between the two of them, were 600 pounds probably coming and running at you. Oh dear Lord, I didn't think he'd ever been. Well, and I don't think he's been right again. He's been tweeting crazy shit and everything. So, this might be the moment in which his marbles got rocked.
Perhaps. Perhaps. Yeah, it was a fun match. We really liked it. Which we love the Rockers, so I was expecting good things from this. But, Akeem's not exactly the best. So I was a little worried about that. Big Boss Man,
he's all right.
He's all right. His belly has some power.
Yes, he does. His belly definitely has some power. So moving on, the next thing we get a Tony Schiavone interview. Now, wrestling fans know Tony Schiavone has spent the majority of his career, it was in the WCW, and now you can find him on AEW. So Tony Schiavone seeing him on WrestleMania and on WWF programming, I mean, I'm a wrestling fan, and I guess I never even paid attention that Tony Schiavone was ever in the WWF. So that, to me, I mean, I'm sure boomers listening right now saying, "Oh, I can't believe you didn't know that," but
he's straightening up his glasses,
We were,
no, actually,
we were pretty young when all this took place and everything. So I just never realized Tony Schiavone was ever in WWF. But we get him interviewing the $1 Million Man and Virgil, and we get to see our first appearance of the $1 Million Championship.
That's a beautiful belt.
Beautiful belt. And he's wearing the all black outfit. This is the $1 Million Man we grew up seeing all the time and loving, with the title around his waist, the black with the gold money signs and everything. This is classic looking $1 Million Man from what we remember is in our childhood.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we get to see it. So he's talking about being around the elite people that's in the stature of him, talking about Trump and everything. And it's just a quick little interview. I'm not even 100% sure who he's facing tonight. I don't even think he mentioned it.
I don't know.
Yeah, because we know Hogan's taking on Randy Savage.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So I'm a little curious who his opponent is tonight.
We'll find out later, I would imagine.
Oh. Well, when we got the Rockers interview, the Rockers match was right away. So let's press play and see if maybe he's on next.
All right.
Okay, so the next match we get is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with Virgil versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake, or as Gorilla Monsoon, for some reason throughout the whole match, wants to call him, Brutai. So I got a theory. There's only one reason why I think he calls him Brutai. Is he a Michigan fan? Refuses to call him Brutus because that's our mascot?
Maybe there's a bunch of Brutus the Barber Briefcakes, and that is the plural term.
So
Brutai.
Two men in the ring right now.
That's right.
Brutai.
One is naked to the... Wait. One is not visible to the naked eye.
It was interesting. He didn't seem to know how to say Brutus.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
And the funniest thing about it is Jesse the Body Ventura never corrected him once.
No.
Okay, so this match, I mean, we're really big fans of the $1 Million Man, but there wasn't a whole lot in this match to really stand out. It wasn't a bad match, it just wasn't a memorable match. I didn't think there was anything that got you excited about this match.
It was kind of quick. It was a fast match. There was a fun spot. Once again, $1 Million Man selling moves. Brutus starts hitting his head on the turnbuckle, and after taking the mini turnbuckle hits, $1 Million Man just sells that and just falls flat on his face, straight down. I mean, so... we still had some good sells by $1 Million Man that I enjoyed. But, yeah, it was kind of a quick match. I mean, not bad, just quick.
And it ends in a double count-out because, of course, Virgil gets involved. And so Brutai chases Virgil around the ring. $1 Million Man goes out there to kind of catch him at the pass. And they kind of start battling outside the ring. And the referee counts to 10, and it's a double count-out. But that's not where it ends there. It felt like the match seemed to get a little bit more exciting after the end of the match than during the match, in my opinion. A lot of extracurriculars going on during the end of the match there. And I don't know. I expected more just because of $1 Million Man being in this match. And it's not like Bruce the Barber Beefcake's the nobody. But it just, to me, like I said, it wasn't a bad match. I don't want people to think there was botches or anything like that. It was a clean, worked match. My problem with the match is there wasn't much excitement in the match. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it didn't feel like a good WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
But it was a fine match.
Yeah, it was just kind of there. It was dull.
Yeah, and I think the problem is we had a much higher expectation for this match because we were really looking forward to it. So the fact that it was kind of dull and, kind of quick and it wasn't a lot to it, we were just kind of disappointed because, we love $1 Million Man. We like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. So it was just kind of sad that it was not more. We just wanted more. That's what it comes down to. It wasn't bad. We wanted more.
Okay, so after the match, we get a clip from earlier today. Apparently, they had a WrestleMania breakfast, and you get somewhat of an interview with Lord Alfred Hayes interviewing the Bushwhackers while they're eating. So they've got a face full of food. Sounds like they're going to be taking on the Rougeau brothers.
Yeah. Love me some Bushwhackers.
Love me some Bushwhackers. And we met the Bushwhackers when we were kids.
Yes, we did.
So that'll be a fun one to watch. So let's go ahead and watch it. Okay, so the next match we get is the Bushwhackers versus the fabulous Rougeau brothers with Jimmy Hart in their corner. And I don't know, they have some fun spots. The Bushwhackers are fun to watch. They do some fun things. But this is really the comedy moment of the show.
Yeah, I guess. Bushwhackers have always been they've never really been a serious tag team. They've always been kind of a comedy team. So, yeah. So any match with the Bushwhackers are pretty much a comedy match.
Yeah, so this wasn't a bad match. Once again, kind of same feeling I had with the last match. There wasn't any amazing spots, but there wasn't any bad spots. No botches. It was just a decently worked match, but nothing that I think you'll remember in time. You know what I mean? So the match ends with the Bushwhackers doing their little battering ram where they hold the head of the other Bushwhacker and kind of run into one of the Rougeau brothers and they get the 1, 2, 3.
Like a battering ram.
Like a battering ram, exactly. So that's how this match ends. Not much to really say about this match unless you got anything to add.
No, not really.
So
there isn't much to say about it. It was a quick match. The Rougeau brothers were fine again. They're just this team we've been seeing since WrestleMania 1 that I just kind of like. They're there. They don't do anything super interesting, but they're not terrible either. They're just fine.
Okay, so the next match we get is between two absolute legends. One that's in the Hall of Fame, one that should be in the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, his wife or his widow will not allow it, but maybe one day, and we understand why. It just sucks because he deserves to be recognized by the fans. But it is Mr. Perfect versus the Blue Blazer, which we obviously know is Owen Hart. So I'm looking forward. This match is going to be great, right?
Yep. That's what we're looking forward to.
So, my opinion of this match is I think it could have been better than it was. Not that it was bad. It was great wrestling involved. It was just too short for me. I wish there was more to this because these two could have actually tore the house down. Unfortunately, I don't think they were both really early in their career, and I don't think they gave them the time to tear the house down. But the little sample we did get was nothing but great wrestling in the ring.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the $1 Million Man versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake. No. I'm not saying that is bad. I'm saying that was also a decent match, but we wanted more.
This was a better match than that match by far.
Sure, It was.
There was a lot of great spots. These two really know how to sell moves. I just thought these two worked well, really, really good together. And unfortunately, my only downfall in this match is it was too short. But I thought this was a great match. Just too short.
I wasn't trying to insult the match. I'm just saying that I thought that the $1 Million Man versus Brutus match was also a good match, but it was too short. Also had a weird ending, a slightly different ending. This one had a clear-cut end.
Oh, yeah, this had a good ending. Owen thought he got the 1, 2, 3, argued it, got hit with a vicious clothesline, and then
it's a forearm to the back.
No, I think he turned around. I think that was a clothesline.
No, he hits him in the back with forearm.
Okay, we'll go to the tape because I'm pretty sure Owen turned around.
Nope, I don't think so. Go to the tape. Go to the tape.
We're going to go to the tape.
We're going to go to the tape.
We're going to go to the tape live while you guys are listening to us.
Well, they show it right here in the
because I'm telling
recap.
you right now, I believe this was a clothesline.
I'm telling you, this was a forearm. See, he's yelling. He's yelling.
He's arguing the 1, 2, 3.
It was a forearm, but
he turned around.
He turned around, but that's still a forearm.
That is a clothesline, Steven.
Look at that.
I'm sorry.
Look at that. Look at that. That was a forearm to the face.
You said it was to the back of the head.
I did think it was at the back, so we were both kind of right. But it wasn't a clothesline.
I was completely right. You were wrong.
No. This is a forearm.
Anyhow, regardless, it sounds like Rage is right, Blaze is wrong.
No, then it was still a forearm.
Then Mr. Perfect puts on the perfect plex. 1, 2, 3. This is the second suplex. Now, granted, this is not just any old suplex. This is the perfect plex. But this is the second perfect suplex into a bridge, 1, 2, 3, that we've had on this show.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a little different, obviously, because...
Well, because it wasn't perfect before. Hercules did not perform a perfect plex.
Well, Hercules, that was a pretty much a German suplex.
I agree there's different suplexes. I am just pointing out that we have had 2 matches end in a suplex into a bridge for the 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I just think it's interesting. Two matches already in this WrestleMania have ended essentially the same way.
Yeah. There's also been a lot less shenanigans in this WrestleMania so far. Well, pretty much just the $1 Million match, yeah. But that didn't... I mean, yes, there was shenanigans involved, but ultimately there was a double count out because they're fighting outside the ring. But yeah, Virgil gets involved, but it wasn't nobody won because of cheating.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's move on to see what we got next. Okay, so the next thing we get is a special guest, supposedly, is what we're being told, but it ends up being Jesse the Body Ventura. He just kind of stands and waves to the crowd, just basks in his glory, I suppose. So that's a little, fun little cute moment, I guess they have. But then we get the real special guest. We get Run DMC and Jam Master Jay. They perform a number like a WrestleMania song. Basically, I've never heard this song before, but it was all about WrestleMania and pile drivers and all this. But they do a little performance in the ring, and I'm pretty sure they were lip syncing.
I mean, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because this was made in '89 and the quality of the video and
could be it too.
But it just didn't look like the mouths were perfectly matching what they were saying. I could definitely tell it on one of the rappers more than the other rapper. It just did not look very clean. But we get a celebrity appearance, a musical performance, and it still just makes me wonder, if you got Run DMC to perform in the middle of the show, what happened? Why Rockin' Robin?
I don't know, but I feel like you kind of overlooked something, forgot about something. We got to see how fit Mr. Fuji is.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. I missed a segment where they showed Mr. Fuji running a 5K, talking about how his team, the Powers of Pain, are going to become World Tag Team Champions when they face Demolition on tonight's WrestleMania.
Yeah, and they showed him at the end. He ran that 5K. Definitely did that.
I'm sure he did.
With his cane in hand.
Yeah, with his cane in hand. So, anyhow, so we got that little 5K thing. We got the performance run DMC. Now it looks like we're about to move on to the Tag Team Championship match, which should be good because I know Powers of Pain is kind of a poor man's LOD, but in my opinion, every time we've seen them, I think they're pretty good.
And we know we like Demolition, so.
Yeah, of course we like Demolition. So let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, so the next match we get is the WWF World Tag Team Championship match. And we just found out, we didn't realize this when they showed the 5K thing, that Mr. Fuji is in this match. This is a handicap match for the Tag Team Championship. So it's the Powers of Pain with Mr. Fuji versus the champions, Demolition.
Well, he was showing you how fit he was by that very much undoctored. Obviously, he definitely ran that 5K to show how fit he is because of this match.
Yeah, so this match I felt it was a pretty good work match also, but still kind of the trend of this WrestleMania. Nothing overly exciting. Now, we did get kind of a fun little finish. Mr. Fuji tried to throw the powder in the face of Demolition, and he accidentally caught one of the Powers of Pain instead. Demolition double-teamed and did a double-team move on him and won the match 1-2-3. But thought this was a fun match, good worked match, but still kind of the trend of this WrestleMania, nothing overly exciting.
Yeah, this hasn't been a big WrestleMania so far.
Yeah, we haven't had that like classic Macho Man, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat type of match in this show that's really kind of grabbed us. I really thought the Blue Blazer versus Mr. Perfect could have been that match for us, and unfortunately, it just didn't quite. It was just too short, too little of a sample size, and it just didn't really do what we thought it was going to do.
Yeah. But this wasn't a bad match. This was fine. This was fun. It was all right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not much more to say about this match, but like I said, it was just fun. It was a fun match. It just wasn't nothing major exciting.
Right.
Okay, so before we move on to the next match, we get Tony Schiavone outside of Macho Man Randy Savage's dressing room trying to get an interview, but Macho Man seems to be fired up. He kind of pushes the door open, and the cameraman falls or whatever, and it's a whole thing. So, obviously, they're showing that Macho Man's pretty pumped and overexcited for this match.
Yeah, I mean, quick segment. It is what it is.
So then we move on to our next match. We have, it is Dino Bravo with Frenchie Martin with Rugged Ronnie Garvin. And before they start the match, they bring out Jimmy Superfly Snuka, which we haven't seen in a while.
No, I don't think we've seen on the... Well, wasn't he in the... Was he in the first?
Yeah, well, remember, he was definitely in the first WrestleMania, but
not as a wrestler. He was, like, there with someone else.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but we haven't seen him in a while on any of the shows that we've done. So it was a surprise to see him, but he didn't come out to wrestle. They just announced as he was a special guest, and then that was the end of it. They didn't say he was a timekeeper. They didn't say he was anything certain. They just said special guest Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and he came out. It was just kind of odd. So then the match starts, and at first it appeared to be a squash match. Dino Bravo was basically handling things pretty well until Rugged Ronnie Garvin finally started getting a few moves off and turned this into more of a match. But at first glance, this really appeared like it was going to be a squash match. Like there wasn't going to be any chance for him. Like I said, it turned into somewhat of a match. It wasn't a bad match at all, actually. It's kind of odd.
I literally thought he was a jobber. Rugged Ronnie Garvin. I didn't realize, like, he didn't get to come down the aisle at all. He was already in the ring, and it just seemed, like you said, a squash match. I thought it was a jobber match, where just to show Dino Bravo, which I hate at WrestleMania, I don't know if I considered it a good match.
Well, there wasn't anything really to call it a super bad match. It wasn't no botches. All the moves were clean.
Fair enough.
It just felt like it looked really one-sided until just a certain point in the match, things started getting a little bit more interesting. So if it wasn't for that, this would have felt more like a squash match, and I agree, would have been a really bad match. They even had Ronnie Garvin kind of retaliate at the end and kind of get, the pop from the crowd at the end there by attacking Frenchie Martin and everything. So it was just kind of a weird moment with a guy that we're not really that familiar with. But in the end, Dino Bravo did use a side slam and got the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the next match we have is Strike Force, Tito Santana and Rick Martel versus the Brain Busters with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Arn Anderson, and Tully Blanchard. This was a pretty good match. I liked this match. There was a lot of great spots in it. There was a double figure 4 at one time that Strike Force put on the Brain Busters, and it was a pretty fun match. And the real story of the match, though, is Tito Santana inadvertently did a high-flying elbow into Rick Martel. And after this happened, Rick Martel was on the side apron, kind of holding his face, acting like he was injured. And as soon as Tito Santana needed a tag, Rick Martel walked away. Not only walked away, but walked out of the arena.
Tito was not being careful. He hit him. He had every right to be mad. I mean, how can you do that to your tag team partner? Rick Martel had every right.
So we get a heel turn at this WrestleMania. Might be the first, I guess it's not the first heel face turn we've seen in our podcast, but I think this is the first heel turn we might have seen in our WrestleMania shows.
Yes.
That I can recall.
Yes, because the heel face with the Demolition and Powers of Pain happened at Survivor Series.
Yes. So, like I said, this was a pretty good match. Had some good wrestling action. Obviously, with Arn Anderson, you're going to get that. He is one of the true legends in the ring.
And Tito's pretty good, too.
Tito's pretty good. I mean, they're all pretty good. They're all legends. Well, I don't know, Rick Martel, but not that he's a bad wrestler. I don't know if he's up to the level of a few of those guys. But I really enjoyed this match. It seems like the tag matches in this show seems to be a little bit better than the singles matches so far.
Yeah, agreed.
So, anyhow, after the match, we end up getting a Rick Martel interview with Mean Gene Okerlund. And he basically states that he's sick of that guy. He's sick of carrying him around, saying that he's always the one, that has to win for their team and everything. So he gives kind of a, somewhat explanation of why he did what he did.
Had every reason to be mad.
Okay. Okay, so the next thing we get in this WrestleMania is what we are told is going to be a Piper's Pit. But then out comes Brother Love. Brother Love! He comes out, does his best Piper impersonation, which actually wasn't
not a terrible impersonation. No,
so
it wasn't.
he's not worthless, I guess. He's mainly worthless, but he does a good Piper impression. I'll give him that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
So, was it funny, though? He didn't really say anything funny. He just...
The impression was funny.
See, okay, so we're going to veer off track here. There's two different types of impressionists. There's some that just do impressions, but they say nothing funny. And then there's people that actually do stuff funny with the impression. And I think there's a difference. Like, I've seen a lot of comedians. Like, me and my family, we watch America's Got Talent. I don't know if you watch it. But
do not.
We watch America's Got Talent.
Not really.
And there's people that get on there and they'll do celebrity impressions. And that's fine and dandy, but everybody's laughing in the crowd, and I'm just looking like, he didn't say nothing funny. I mean, yeah, he's good at impressions, good for him, but the material wasn't there to be funny, you know what I mean? So
I get what you're saying, but his impression, considering he's making fun of Rowdy, it's not like he's trying to do a talent competition just to do an impression. He's doing a bit where he's making fun of Rowdy and saying how great Brother Love. It was entertaining. I feel like it was entertaining. I enjoyed it.
Anyhow, so he gets a little bit of a spotlight, and then we get Morton Downey Jr. Now, us youngsters here don't remember him very well, but apparently he had a talk show. So he had his own little talk show.
And he was a dick.
He appears to be a dick. He comes on here, acts like a dick. He takes a few jabs at Brother Love, makes a few comments about him. But then you get Rowdy Roddy Piper's music. It hits the bagpipes. So Rowdy Roddy Piper is back for the first time in over 2 years in the WWF.
And they mentioned in there that Rowdy Roddy Piper went Hollywood.
Yeah, so apparently Piper left to go to Hollywood, make some movies. He's been gone for 2 years. So the whole idea of Brother Love coming out first was like, we got you. You thought you were going to see Piper in Piper's Pit, but you actually get Brother Love. But, of course, the real Piper finally comes out. He comes out and he starts making fun of Brother Love, of course, and he does it very well. This is where the segment really starts shining when Piper gets in there.
Yeah.
He rips off Brother Love's kilt, which, according to Piper, it wasn't a real kilt. It was a skirt, according to Piper. So he rips off the skirt. Brother Love runs with his underwear, trying to, cover himself with his hands, runs down the aisle and leaves the ringside. So then that leaves Morton Downey Jr. Now, Piper starts trying to talk to Morton Downey Jr., and Morton Downey Jr. constantly wants to blow smoke in his face.
I would punch him.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't punch him.
I'm surprised it took him so many times, but Piper would constantly look at him after about the second or third time. He's like, Mr. Downey Jr., please don't blow smoke in my face. And this went on for actually several minutes. This was quite a long segment. This was probably almost 20 minutes.
It was like
long,
20-minute segment, yeah.
It was really long.
But you also got to realize, I believe this is the first return of Piper since, WrestleMania 4, 5, or 3?
No, further back than that.
Was it 3?
I think 2. He did a boxing match in 2. I don't know if he was in 3. I'd have to look.
Yeah, because he faced Adonis, remember? That was his last match.
Okay, so 3.
So it was WrestleMania 3.
Okay.
He faced Adrian Adonis.
This is WrestleMania 5, so 2 years. Okay.
So this is 2 years without Piper, so it makes sense that they would do a 20-minute segment with Piper.
Well, anyhow, so after so many times of getting smoke blown in his face, Piper finally pulls out a fire extinguisher and blows a fire extinguisher in Morton Downey Jr.'s face. So this was a funny segment. Like I said, we're a little young. We don't remember Morton Downey Jr. at all. Like, at all.
I was asking if that was like Robert Downey Jr.'s dad or something.
I looked it up. He's not.
He's not related.
And the man literally smoked the whole time he was in the ring.
Oh my gosh! I think like 7-8 cigarettes.
Yeah, he just kept. Oh, another thing he was doing was during the Brother Love segment, he was constantly flicking cigarettes to Piper during that segment.
Yeah, the dude wasn't funny. He was just an asshole.
He was literally
just straight up an asshole.
Just a dick.
And I actually am disappointed that Rowdy took so long to. I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong. I guess it makes all sense. But man, I would have wanted to punch that guy the second time he blew smoke in my face.
Yeah, it was rough. So, anyhow, little fun fact about this Morton Downey Jr. Well, I don't know if it's a fun fact. But in the year 2001, he ends up passing away. Can you guess what from?
I'm going to go with cancer of the lung.
Lung cancer. So it's just kind of ironic. The man literally would not stop smoking the whole segment.
Chain smoke.
20-minute segment, smoked several cigarettes, and the man dies of lung cancer in 2001.
Not sure I would call that fun facts, but...
Okay, maybe not a fun fact. That's just a sad fact. Here at the Rage and Blaze Show, we do not condone smoking or tobacco use of any kind.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Sure.
I mean, people are allowed to do what they want, but we're not exactly fans of it.
Yeah. So
we're not trying to tell you can't smoke that cigarette. Just know that you might die in 2001 of lung cancer because of it.
I think it says it right on the box.
I believe it does, yes.
So anyhow, any kids out there listening to our show,
don't do cigarettes.
Don't smoke. Yeah. We get a movie trailer. This is the very first in WrestleMania history to receive a movie trailer during WrestleMania. And it is, of course, starring Hulk Hogan, No Holds Barred.
A movie we very well might cover on my other podcast.
You might have to. You might have to check that out. Is it on any streaming platforms
I'm
right
not
now?
sure. I think the one we were looking at possibly doing is, I think it's, is it Mr. Mom or Mr. Nanny?
Mr. Nanny, I think.
Is it
I think Mr. Mom is
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah.
Yeah, one of those is
movies.
One of those is on HBO Max. That movie's on HBO Max. So we've talked about doing that one or Ready to Rumble.
I'd love Ready to Rumble.
We want to do some wrestling movies and review them.
You can't get more cross promotion for a movie than David Arquette winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship just to promote a movie.
He actually wrestles still to this day.
I know he kind of amateur wrestles, but to have a guy from Hollywood just walk into your company win the world title, it just makes you know why that company went out of business.
I mean, he didn't win the world title, but
did.
I mean, there's other people that have done this and wrestled women. That's right. We're talking about Andy Kaufman.
No, who's ever
Hollywood?
Who's ever been Hollywood and won a chip? Well, Gronk just did it, but it was a 24/7 championship.
Yeah, I don't count.
And that's just. I guess it wasn't their prestigious heavyweight championship. I'd also like to point out that during the trailer, and I will confess...
Well, in fairness, WCW went under pretty close, pretty soon after David Arquette won the title.
When was Ready to Rumble? 2000, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, they went out of business within a year after that. So honestly, David Arquette killed WCW.
Yeah, it's a plague. He's like a plague.
It's the truth. I also like to point out, and I will admit, I have never, and I don't know if I can say never, I don't remember No Holds Barred.
I don't know if I've ever seen it, to be honest with you.
I don't know if I have either. And
I may have, when I was really young.
If I watched it,
I probably watched it with Boomer.
Yeah, if anybody showed it to us, it was probably Boomer.
I believe we watched a couple of the
I know we've seen some Hulk Hogan movies, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen that Mr. Nanny you referred to and everything. I have to look up all his movies, but No Holds Barred is one that I don't recall if I've seen it or not. The point that I'm trying to make is during the trailer, I noticed a six-sided ring, or what appears to be a six-sided ring. And this was 10, 15 years. Yeah, I'd say about 15 years before TNA wrestling. So this was before they decided to use a six-sided ring as the norm for a long time in TNA wrestling. So I found that very interesting to see that six-sided ring in that No Holds Barred movie trailer. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've seen the trailer too, but I don't remember that.
You just watched the trailer.
I mean, before. I don't remember that being in the trailer. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't recall it either. And that's part of the reason, like I said, I don't remember the movie if I've seen it. And that's part of why I'm bringing it up. So, very interesting tidbit there. Seeing the six-sided ring was not a TNA original idea. Matter of fact, I was looking online. Turns out a promotion called AAA used to use a six-sided ring way before TNA as well.
Oh, wow.
So anyhow, so moving on, we got the movie trailer, and then the next thing I believe we received is an interview from Sean Mooney. He interviews Donald Trump asking how the show is doing.
It was huge.
Definitely bigger than anything.
I think this ring would be better with some walls. Just want to put some walls around this ring.
Nothing will ever be as huge as this WrestleMania.
It's bigly.
WrestleMania is the greatest of all time. It's huge. Okay, so then we get a rant from Jesse the Body Ventura, basically telling Hogan to stay out of Hollywood. That's my domain. Kind of weird.
Just curious, what movies is Jesse the Body Ventura in?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Had no idea he'd done any movies until he started bitching at Hogan doing movies.
All I know is since we are future people and we know what's going to happen in the future, I bet you better believe Hogan better not step foot in politics. Because that is now.
That is now Jesse the Body Ventura's domain.
So, let's move on with the show then. Okay, so you looked it up, and what was the movies that you saw Jesse the Body Ventura has been in?
One I should have realized, and I did know, he was in Predator, man. He's one of the mercenaries in Predator. He was also in The Naked Gun as an announcer, a baseball announcer, and then he was also in The Running Man.
Okay.
Which I've never actually seen. But
so he was in some legit movies. This wasn't like...
But he wasn't like a star like...
No.
Which I don't know if we call Hulk Hogan
he wasn't a star
Hollywood
like The Rock.
Well, no, but he starred in movies, but he starred in bad movies.
Predator's not a bad movie.
No, Hogan.
Oh,
Jesse was in good movies, and hell, Hulk was in Rocky 3? So he's been in good movies too. But the movies he starred in are essentially what you find in the bargain bin at Walmart for $5.
Wow. Okay.
Am I wrong? Where's the lie?
Well, I have fond memories of seeing Hogan on movies, so I don't want to.
That you paid $5 at Walmart in the bargain bin.
No, I think we went to the local video store. We rented them.
Sure.
Can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
gotta go to the old red box.
Blockbuster. Yeah. No, there's still a family video.
Where?
Galleon.
Galleon still has one?
I believe it's still open.
Huh. Because I think all the ones in Mansfield are gone.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so continuing on with the coverage of WrestleMania 5, the next thing we do see is a video package showing us the pretty much the birth and the death of the Mega Powers.
We get to see some stuff that we didn't actually get to see
Most of it was from the shows we watched, but then they started showing footage that we have not seen, which I would have loved to gone back and watch that footage had I thought about it. But
luckily, we got to see the promos here.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff went down where looks like Macho Man got thrown out of the ring into Elizabeth, so Hogan took her back to get medical treatment, and that kind of officially set the bar that Macho Man officially turned on Hogan.
Yeah.
So it finally happened. The Mega Powers have exploded, and they will explode all over Donald Trump's closet. So
it's about to be messy.
About to get messy up in here. So
Trump's used to that.
Then we get a very, very, very well done promo by the Hawkster, and this is about as great as I've ever seen Hawkster on the mic. This was genuinely just awesome in my opinion. It was a great promo. Very, there was more emotion behind it, and the way he talks and everything, as opposed to just talking about all his Hulkamaniacs. He's actually talking about his opponent, and it just felt, to me, it felt like a better promo than we've seen him do so far in this podcast ever.
Yeah, like the whole, the Maniacs have gone farther, and the madness just never got there.
Right, yeah, he's talking about the Mania. Yeah, so, I mean, it was just a very, very good promo. He even brought Donald Trump into the promo, not physically, but just he talked about Donald Trump, mainly because they were talking about the Trump Plaza and everything, saying that Trump was worried about the foundation of the building because the earth is going to swallow these fans up beneath their feet. It's gonna be such an explosion of the Maniacs versus the Madness, So it was just a very classic, very great promo that I felt was.
It's okay, Hogan. It's okay. I've got insurance.
I'm sure he does. All right. So the next match we have kind of blossomed from Royal Rumble. I believe they were kind of feuding before. It just seemed that way, even during the interviews at Royal Rumble. But this next match is Jake the Snake Roberts versus Andre the Giant with Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner, and special guest referee Big John Studd. I thought this was a really fun match, and I know you've kind of been critical about Andre matches, but this was a good Andre match in my opinion. This was really good.
There wasn't any major spots to hate on it, so for Andre matches, it was better. Andre, for the most part, didn't do any actual moves where he had to lift someone or anything. He stuck with chokeholds and like pushing Jake the Snake Roberts up against the corner and, simple things, chops, punches.
But the biggest story of this match is kind of what happened towards the end. Little extracurriculars going on. So Big John Studd and Andre kind of get into it. And Jake, he's on the outside. He tries to get bring Damien into the ring, and the $1 Million Man runs out and snatches Damien from Jake the Snake Roberts and tries to run down the aisle with Damien. Of course, Jake follows him, and we get something very interesting. The first time we've ever seen this in WrestleMania, we get a split screen of both the action going on inside with Andre kind of getting into it with Big John Studd and Jake the Snake dealing with the $1 Million Man. It's kind of interesting.
Now, you gave kind of a weird look when it's like, well, $1 Million Man, but $1 Million Man and Andre have been working together for quite some time.
Yeah, but I thought that relationship kind of was over. I didn't know that was still going on.
Well,
we haven't seen them together in several pay-per-views.
Well, Rage, the $1 Million Man takes care of his employees. And, he paid Andre the Giant, so he's one of his employees. So, he's a very good manager and good friend, boss. So he is just helping Andre out.
Is that right? Well, anyhow, regardless, due to all this turmoil, Big John Studd ends up disqualifying Andre the Giant. So the winner by disqualification.
Well, I mean, when you
Jake the
literally
Snake Roberts.
attack the referee, that's normally a disqualification. I mean,
Yeah, it's not going to go well for you.
he literally started choking out Big John Studd. I mean, and he's the special guest referee, so, that's kind of fair.
So this match ends in DQ. So Andre gets to kind of still go around saying he's somewhat undefeated. Like I said, he lost at WrestleMania 3. So...
Yeah, it wasn't much of a match, but it had a fun story involved.
Yeah, it was a fun match to watch. It's kind of a bright
and if you notice, that's the best stuff with Andres. He's in some interesting storylines, but when it comes to actual wrestling, he's not great.
Okay, so we will see what we have next then. Okay, so we're backstage with Sensational Sherry, with Tony Schiavone interviewing her, and she says what we all were thinking at the beginning of the show, that Rockin' Robin can't sing. She even goes a little further and says, just like she can't wrestle in the ring.
I mean, I want to dispute it, but is it lying really? It's true.
A lot of villains, or a lot of heels, speak the truth.
Yeah.
People just don't like to hear it. So then, for some reason, she also takes a dig at Miss Elizabeth. I don't know why. But she also...
Because she's trying to say she's pretty, and, Sensational Sherry's a woman.
Okay. So then we move on to the next match. We have... It is the team of Greg the Hammer Valentine and the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart in their corner versus the Hart Foundation, Bret the Hitman Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And we get to hear our first variation of Bret the Hitman Hart's theme music. It's definitely his theme music, but it feels...
It's just not polished yet.
Yeah, it sounds a little different. So they obviously polish it for the future. But this is definitely his theme music that they are coming out to. So this is the first time we've got to hear that theme music. So that was nice to hear. And this was in my opinion, a very well worked match. This was a very good tag team match.
Good technical wrestling.
Yeah, a lot of good spots. And it even had a little bit of an exciting ending with Jimmy Hart trying to give, I believe it was the Honky Tonk Man, his megaphone to use while the referee was distracted. And if Bret the Hitman Hart actually gets a hold of it.
Well, Jimmy the Anvil Neidhart grabs it from...
Oh, that's right. Jim the Anvil Neidhart grabs it from Jimmy Hart before he could give it to Honky Tonk Man. Tosses it up over the ropes to Bret Hart. Bret Hart uses it, gets the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, this was a decent match. Probably one of the better ones on the show.
Yeah, from what we've had so far, this is definitely on the upper top list of the better matches on this show. I really enjoyed this match. It's showing me that maybe the show's going to get better, and throughout the show. Our next match is an Intercontinental Championship match, I believe, with Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior. So kind of excited to see that one.
Yeah. So far, Warrior hasn't exactly impressed me, but I have been impressed by Ravishing Rick Rude. So I'm really hoping that this is the match where I get to be like, okay, my childhood is validated. I am so glad that I'm a huge Ultimate Warrior fan. Because so far...
He kind of fits the mold of the type of wrestlers you usually don't like.
Yeah, I'm kind of realizing that.
But little child Blaze thought, ooh, the face paint and the cool, energetic running out in the ring and grabbing the ropes and shaking it. You were all into that.
Yeah, well, yes, I was. But, as my taste grew, And I grew up, and I started realizing that I really like the high flyers, the technical wrestlers. I like your Shawn Michaels, and even Rey Mysterio is really fun to watch. Stuff like that. I really prefer. I like the small guys. I like the guys that fly around. I like athletic wrestlers.
Well, and I think this is a moment that I can point out to you that it's okay that your childhood self had a different image of wrestling, because wrestling has evolved so much since your childhood that it is okay that these guys are still in your memory. You're allowed. You don't have to hate on every Andre the Giant or Ultimate Warrior or Hulk Hogan that walks into the ring. You can appreciate it for the time frame in which they wrestle.
Well, the only problem with that, Rage, is I actually have integrity.
Integrity weed.
That's Tegrity weed.
Oh, Integrity
Farms.
Okay, so let's go on. It looks like we're about to get a video package kind of letting us know what's went down in this feud. And I'm looking forward to it. Like you mentioned, though, every time we've seen Ravishing Rick Rude, he has been entertaining.
A delight, and
one of the best.
I love his tights. Every time he comes down the ring, he's got someone on his dick. So, it's kind of weird that I might be kind of flip flopping here, where Ravishing Rick Rude might be one of my favorite old school wrestlers, and Ultimate Warrior, yeah.
Okay, well, let's see if it meets expectations, or if we're about to ruin Blaze's childhood again.
It happens often.
Okay, so it's time for the Intercontinental Championship match between Ravishing Rick Rude and Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner, and the Ultimate Warrior. Now, I have to tell you, we went into this match thinking, maybe Ravishing Rick Rude could save it. Ultimate Warrior hasn't really showcased that great of wrestling ability so far during our podcast. But I think this match was fantastic.
Yeah, this was a really good match. And I think, in a way, Ravishing Rick Rude does kind of save it, because Ravishing Rick Rude just sells everything Ultimate Warrior does. And Ultimate Warrior just shows this immense power, and Ravishing Rick Rude made everything he did look painful.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out the tights. We've got to talk about the tights. Every time Ravishing Rick Rude comes out, we have to comment on what tights he's wearing. So
our new segment, Rude Tights.
So, yeah. So, in the buttocks area, he has a picture of the Ultimate Warrior. Okay.
As one does.
He would. But in this match, in the front, he has a picture of the Intercontinental Championship.
I mean, are you surprised? He puts on the person that his opponent loves. And, well, what does the Ultimate Warrior love? His title.
You know what he doesn't love? I think he don't like fire, because I think Ultimate Warrior is basically the wrestling version of a caveman. So
cavemen like fire when they figured it out.
Fire?
When they figured it out,
scared of it at first.
Well, at first, but then they were like, "Ooh, ooga, oh, fire."
So anyhow, this match
Frankenstein doesn't like fire.
Yeah, that's right. So this match turned out to be terrific. Even had a pretty good ending where Ultimate Warrior tried to suplex Rick Rude, but Bobby the Brain Heenan grabs his legs and forces his legs down while Rick Rude reverses the suplex into like a pin, and ends up winning the match and stealing the title from the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, there was a couple times Warrior at the beginning, he just kept on throwing Rick Rude into the corner, and he just sold it, and his back just looked like he even later on continued to sell that back pain, because he tried to do his little gyration move, and then he stopped because his back was hurting. And then and another thing we want to mention is normally we don't like bear hugs too much. And I still think they probably did the bear hugging a little too long in this. That's probably the only blemish I would give to this match. But when they did, Ultimate Warrior does a bear hug on Ravishing Rick Rude, and Rick Rude sells the hell out of that too. He's just flailing around like, oh shit, I'm stuck. So, I mean, even a bear hug by Warrior looked amazing because of Rick Rude selling. So, I mean, this match may have kind of saved a little bit of my childhood. I got a slight glint in my eye now.
Yeah, this was definitely a better match than we expected. I mean, he's wrestling a really great wrestler in Ravishing Rick Rude, so that definitely helps. But I just thought this was fantastic. I thought this was probably, I don't want to spoil our rankings at the end of the show, but at the moment, this is the top match of the night for me. So we'll see if anything else gets better. I know we had a really good, I think it was a 6-man tag match earlier in the show that was really terrific, but for now...
Well, we also had that really good Rockers versus Twin Towers match I liked.
Yeah, that was a great match. That was
really good match.
We definitely have
we've got some contenders.
Couple matches to choose from, and then we have just a whole bunch of matches. We got to figure out what the worst of the night was.
Yeah, we do got quite a few worst of the night's contenders, but yeah, I'm kind of with you. This is probably, I'm not sure if it's my best match of the night so far, but it was good. I mean, I liked it a lot, actually. I really, really enjoyed this match. It kind of saved the Warrior, and I mean, I can't even fully say that it was just Ravishing Rick Rude that saved it, because the Warrior it works so well because the Warrior is all power. Just all power. And he showed that power in this match. Rick Rude sold that power as it should be sold. So he helped enhance what the Warrior did, but I mean the Warrior did some power bombs that looked really good, or not power bombs. I don't think we've seen a power bomb since we started this podcast, but body slams. We got some really good body slams from Warrior, and suplexes that were pretty good. Like, everything looked good. I really enjoyed Warrior bouncing off of 3 different ropes to try to do his big splash that
yeah, and it looked like it could be the end of the match. I thought this match was going to be fairly quick.
Yeah.
And then Rude got his knees up and countered the move and really extended this match and made it in a very surprising finish. We didn't expect the match to end when it ended, and it was a very shocking ending, and it was good. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I have nothing but good to say about this match. I mean, like I said, the only complaint I would go with is there was the bear hugs. There was 2 different bear hugs, and they went on a little long. But because of Ravishing Rick Rude's selling of those bear hugs, I don't hate it.
Well, and then you had the whole poking of the eyes.
Yeah.
He poked Ultimate Warrior in the eyes, and then he tried to do it again, and the referee actually grabbed his arm and stopped him from doing it. That was very interesting to see.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've seen a referee get that involved other than the whole twin situation in the one show where they kind of stole the title from Hogan. Other than that, I don't know if we've really seen a referee involvement like that in a match where he was willing to get his hands dirty and prevent an eye poke. That was very, very interesting.
Yeah, and it had the interest. Now, I feel like you were thinking negative thoughts with what Bobby the Brain Heenan did to the Ultimate Warrior. And I'm here to just tell you that Bobby the Brain Heenan just saw that the Ultimate Warrior's boot was untied. So he was just grabbing his boot to try to help him tie it up.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. So the next match we have is Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Bad News Brown. And this really was more of a fight than a wrestling match. Wasn't bad, it just was just more of a fight, right?
Yeah, I'm starting to realize that, number one, I'm not big on Bad News Brown and his ghetto blaster, which he tried in this match. And that was probably the coolest moment in this match, is he tries the ghetto blaster and Hacksaw just ducks, and he completely whiffs. And then Hacksaw follows it up with his 3-point clothesline thing. But yeah, I'm starting to think I'm not really big on Hacksaw either. He hasn't really done anything other than that. The stance thing he does is the only cool thing he really does. And other than that, I'm not big.
Yeah, so this match ends in a double disqualification, I believe.
This one actually makes sense with the double disqualification compared to the terrible decision with Hogan and Andre. This one, Hacksaw grabbed his 2x4 and
Bad News Brown grabbed the chair first.
Yes, but
and they literally
attacked at the same time.
Fight with them.
Yes, so they attacked at the same time, making it a proper double disqualification. Not, I'm going to do something to get myself disqualified, and then after that, the other person's going to retaliate with something that gets them disqualified. Oh, we're going to double disqualify. I still am angry about that bullshit decision from WrestleMania 4. But this one was the proper way to do it. Still not a big fan of this match, but at least the ending fit the crime.
Yeah, like I said, there wasn't much of a match here. This was very short, and it was more of a street fight, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. It only was 3 minutes and 49 seconds.
Yeah, we're almost talking longer than this match. Not quite, but we're
getting there.
Okay,
so after the match is over, we get a Mean Gene Okerlund interview with the Red Rooster with full neck throbbing and what do you call it when the roosters call in the morning? Caw, whatever. Cock-a-doodle-doo. I mean, he's doing the whole bit,
and he even has the little hair or thing in his hair.
Yeah, the thing in his hair. And this is a wrestler that I don't remember very much about, but dear Lord, he comes out acting like a chicken.
A rooster rage? He's a rooster.
Aren't they the same?
No.
They're not the same. A chicken is not a rooster?
I mean, there's similarities.
The type of a chicken?
Well, I believe the rooster is the male version of a chicken.
Is that right? Okay, well, we are not...
I don't know farm shit.
Yeah, we're not the Barnyard Show here.
But I'm telling you, his damn name is Red Rooster, not Red Chicken.
The guy comes out flapping his arms and moving his neck, acting like he's a freaking chicken.
A rooster.
Don't say it.
I'm going to die on this hill. It's a damn rooster.
Okay.
Which is just as ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. Some of the gimmicks we have had throughout the WWF. It almost seems like there should be a show out there, some sort of podcast that can make fun of this guy.
I may know one of those.
Why don't you call your people and see if something like that exists? Let's move on. Okay, so the next match was a really quick 31-second match. Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan, with the Brooklyn Brawler coming out in Bobby the Brain and Heenan's side. This really wasn't much of a match at all. Bobby the Brain Heenan ran into the turnbuckle, and Red Rooster rolled him up and pinned him 1, 2, 3, and this match was over. I mean, this was not very long. Brooklyn Brawler put in a few licks on Red Rooster after the match was over, and Red Rooster kind of got his bearings about him, and that everybody left. This was just kind of a waste of time, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't really have much to say about this. I mean,
it was really quick.
It was two people I didn't really give a crap about.
Bobby the Brain Heenan. Not as a wrestler.
So I talk about how these two wrestlers, I don't give a crap, and you have to mention the manager. That proves my point.
No, he was the wrestler. Did you not do your homework?
Wait, Brooklyn Brawler wasn't the wrestler?
No, Brooklyn Brawler was on the outside. This was Bobby the Brain Heenan versus the Red Rooster. Dear Lord, you're making us look bad. That is how much.
That's how quick and ridiculous this match was.
He thought he saw Brooklyn Brawler comes out with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and he thinks the match is Brooklyn Brawler versus the Red Rooster, and it wasn't. Brooklyn Brawler was on the outside.
That's terrible. I didn't.
This is horrible. I am doing this show with rookies.
Okay, so I'm the producer, so I was getting my part of that done, and this match was practically over before I even looked up. And when I looked up, he's getting pinned, and I didn't realize he was taking the pin.
Well, I can tell you I saw the whole match, and it was 31 seconds long. We can rewatch it if you'd like, because it was that quick. We've actually talked about this match probably triple the time that we spent watching the match, to be honest.
Quadruple.
Quadruple.
We're at 2 minutes and 20 seconds now.
Well, then I don't think there's any more to say about this match. Let's just move on and see what we got next. Okay, so before the next match, we get an interview with Miss Elizabeth, and she's just awkward. I mean, it is very not very wrestling.
No, she seems very shy.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like she's very comfortable talking. She doesn't seem like she knows really what she wanted to say. She paused a lot before talking. It's just awkward to watch. So then we finally get the entrance of the Macho Man, Randy Savage, the WWF World Heavyweight Champion. Then we get the same music hits. We get the entrance of Miss Elizabeth because she has decided she is in a neutral corner. She is not in the corner of either man. She is there to support both men. So then
Despite being married to one of them.
Well, now, we'll get to that. Keep in mind, they don't really talk about them being a married couple. They talk about her being his manager and being the fact that I'll fast forward a little bit if anybody don't know. In the 91 SummerSlam, we get a wedding between Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, even though they'd been married for around 8 years at the time of this wedding. So they have a kayfabe wedding for in-screen, but we're moving ahead of ourselves. So then we get the entrance, the real American music of Hulk Hogan. He comes down, and automatically this match is high energy, and I thought this was a very well-worked match considering some of the stuff we've seen Hogan do. This was a pretty good one. Having Macho Man there, I think, really helps. He's a great wrestler. And then they played on the whole Miss Elizabeth being in the neutral corner a lot during this match, where Macho Man would hide behind her or things would just happen, and she was constantly being involved to the point where the referee had to kick her out because she was becoming too much of a distraction for both men.
Yeah, it was an all-right match. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I don't feel like a lot. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about this match.
Well, it was quite a lengthy match. It was, let's see here, 17 minutes and 54 seconds. So by far the longest match of the show. So, I mean, you would think there'd be a lot to unwrap here for you to talk about. It was, like I said, it wasn't a bad match. There wasn't a lot of the sleeper holds or bear hugs, stuff that fills the match. This was a consistent match, I thought.
Well, Macho Man had Hogan in quite a few different submission moves. Like, it was kind of a slow match.
I think we're going to agree to disagree here because I thought it was a fairly well-rounded match. And, I mean, you even got to see Macho Man do his flying elbow off the top ropes, even though it didn't work and he didn't win the match with the flying elbow. Matter of fact, they said during the announcements, I believe they had said that this is the first time anybody has even kicked out of the flying elbow at this point in Macho Man's career. And then, of course, as soon as he kicks out, Hulk Hogan does his typical big boot and leg drop and wins the match. And then we get about an hour and 25 minutes of pandering to the crowd before the show's officially off the camera.
As is normal with Hulk Hogan.
A little exaggeration there, but it felt that long.
I swear, this podcast is making me appreciate certain aspects of Hulk Hogan, but really reinforcing my dislike for Hulk Hogan at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a crowd pleaser. You can definitely see why they put him on top all the time, because he definitely brings in the crowd. But it just feels like there's better guys out there during the times in which Hulk Hogan really controlled the business. I mean, you had guys like Rick Rude. You had the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I mean, you had several guys that could have been that top-level Rowdy Roddy Piper. Could have been that top-level guy at any point in their career and carry the company, but Hogan really had a stranglehold around these years, and it was lucky that Macho Man got a year run with the WWF Championship. But unfortunately for Macho Man, the whole year run he had from WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5 when he loses it to Hulk Hogan here is Hulk Hogan's right by his side in the same picture, tagging with him as the Mega Power. So Hulk never really leaves the WWF Championship picture.
Yeah, it's like Macho Man wins the title. It's like, hey, Macho, you want to be Mega Powers? I mean, let's tag, okay? How about we tag? Let's tag.
It's almost like a drug addict.
I see you got the champion over there. You need a tag championship.
That gold shining on me. Can I touch it? Can you just touch it? I was like, yo. Never mind. We don't want to be that type of show. So anyhow. So as this match concludes, I suppose that will finish off our WrestleMania 5 Part 2 coverage. And I think we have some rankings to do.
Favorite match of the night.
So I think my best match of the night's pretty easy. I really, really enjoyed the Intercontinental Championship match between Rick Rude and the Ultimate Warrior. And I think this is the best match we have seen the Ultimate Warrior wrestle. And Rick Rude is just always a bright spot in every wrestling show we have watched.
The only one that I can think of that would contend with this match is the Rockers versus the Twin Towers. I thought that was a really good match, really fun match, really good at playing with the giants versus the small guys, you know. It had that. So, but I can't pick that because you're right. That Ultimate Warrior match saved my childhood. Maybe not completely. I'm still not sure if I'm fully sold on my childhood love, but it helped. It definitely helped. Ultimate Warrior was really good in the match. Ravishing Rude was Rick Rude, like you said. Fantastic, as always. It was definitely the best match of the night.
Yeah, definitely.
Worst match of the night.
Okay, so the worst match of the night for me is a shoo-in. It's a very easy. I think there's only one answer in this show, and that is the Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan. It was 31 seconds that I can't get back in my life, that I would have liked to have done really anything else. I could have gotten a lot accomplished in 31 seconds other than watching this match. And seeing this man bop his head like a chicken or a rooster, whatever, is one of the most weirdest and disturbing things I think I've ever seen in wrestling.
You're right. That was a terrible match. And I agree. I think that's probably the worst match of the night. It was just not a match. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. It's Bobby the Brain Heenan versus the Red Rooster.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that only leads us to one more thing, and that is we have 5 WrestleManias under our belt now. 5. That gives us a legit ranking system. We're about to tell you, spoiler alert, our top 5 WrestleManias.
That we've watched.
Yeah, that we watched.
WrestleMania rankings.
Okay, for my rankings, I am still putting WrestleMania 3 at the top of my list. That's not going to change. I think WrestleMania 2 still belongs right underneath at the top of that list. And then this is where I'm kind of debating. Was WrestleMania 5 or WrestleMania 4 better? That's where I'm trying to struggle, and I think I'm just going to make a decision, and I'm going to say WrestleMania 4, I believe, had better matches. It was the tournament-based WrestleMania that Macho Man won the title at the very end. So I'm putting this down as my 4th-ranked WrestleMania. So WrestleMania 5, 4th-ranked, and then, of course, number 1 is just at the bottom barrel. It just wasn't quite living up to that WrestleMania legacy quite yet.
So I'm going to agree. WrestleMania 3, definitely the best one so far. WrestleMania 2, I would agree, would be my 2nd place. But this is where I think I'm going to differ. Just based on the Twin Towers versus the Rockers and the match between Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude, I'm going to put this as my 3rd best WrestleMania, and 4 still at 4th place, and last, WrestleMania 1.
Okay.
So this is the first time that we've disagreed on the rankings.
Well, and one of us is right and one of us is wrong, and that's just how the world works.
I know, I'm right.
And you're wrong.
No, I'm not and wrong. I'm right.
Fair enough. Okay, so we have a difference in opinion on where to place this WrestleMania. But one thing we do agree is so far, WrestleMania 3 is by far the best out of all these WrestleManias so far. Now, the next WrestleMania we're about to get will be the Ultimate Challenge. Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, champion versus champion. I think it's got a chance. I don't remember the rest of the show, but I'm hoping it has a chance to dethrone WrestleMania 3 as my favorite WrestleMania. We shall see. The rest of the show might be a stinker, and I might have to put it down at the bottom of the list. Who knows? But I am super excited to watch the Ultimate Warrior face off against Hogan. Definitely after seeing that Ravishing Rick Rude match.
Yeah,
he might surprise us.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not nearly as excited because while I did see a lot better with Ultimate Warrior in this, I'm still kind of so-so on Hogan when it comes to wrestling.
Yeah, so we don't know if we'll see what happens there. But I'm definitely excited because that's one of them that I remember being great. So we'll see what my childhood self remembers and what my modern wrestling opinion will say about this show. But I'm definitely this is the WrestleMania that I have been looking forward to rewatching probably more than most. There's some there's some maybe WrestleMania 12. The Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels is still by far my favorite WrestleMania moment match in the history of wrestling. So I'd probably be looking forward to that one a little bit more. But I definitely have been looking forward to this one, Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior.
All right. It's going to be tough because right now I feel like WrestleMania 3 is resting on its laurels for having the best match we've seen so far. And so far, no WrestleMania has even come close to topping that match. I mean, I really liked this Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude match, but it wasn't Warrior versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who, by the way, we did not see in this.
Warrior versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. You mean Macho Man?
Oh, did I say
Ricky
Warrior?
the Dragon Steamboat, which was a
Macho
classic, and it's probably the best match we've watched in 5 WrestleManias so far.
Definitely the best match we've watched.
Okay, so that is going to do it for us. Let's plug the pluggables. You can go to the Facebook page, The Rage and Blaze Show, the Instagram, at The Rage and Blaze Show, Twitter, at Ricky Rayberg.
Yeah, and you can find me on Dragon Blazer Productions on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Dragon Blazer Pro on the Twitters.
Okay, so there's only one Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube now, but there's still 2 Twitters, huh?
Well, apparently you get confused with this multiverse, so, I'm just
I'm just making sure, because I noticed you didn't pluralize them this time, except for the Twitter. You couldn't help yourself on the Twitters.
You gave me a look, and I got mad, so I had to go back to my
Fair
thing.
enough. So this has been The Rage and Blaze Show. I am Rage.
And I'm Blaze.
Good night from Rage's Pit.
And here is your winners, and still podcast tag team champions of the world, The Rage and Blaze Show. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Rage and Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze Show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.